Outside of the United States, that's going to be up to them. I don't care too much about that.
Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has issued a strong warning to the United States. In a live speech, he said Iran would retaliate forcefully if attacked. Khamenei dismissed US threats as mischief, but vowed a decisive response if any action is taken. His remarks come amid rising tensions between Washington and Tehran. Let's listen to what Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei had to say.
ملت‌های دنیا عصبانی‌اند، ناراحتند تا اونجایی که اطلاع دارن از بسیاری از مسائل، از جنایات کشورهای دنیا، ملت‌های دنیا اطلاع ندارن. اینی که می‌بینید تو خیابان‌های اروپا و حتی آمریکا علیه رژیم صهیونیستی شعار میدن به خاطر اطلاعات محدود اونهاست. اطلاعات بیشتری داشته باشن بیشتر از این هم میکنن. نتیجه این حرفایی که عرض میکنم اینه که این گروه تبهکار باید از فلسطین ریشه کن بشود. مواضع ما همه بدانند مواضع ما همون مواضعی است که بود. دشمنی آمریکا و رژیم صهیونیستی هم همونی است که بود. تهدید میکنن که شرارت خواهند کرد. البته اگر شرارتی انجام بگیره ما خیلی اطمینان نداریم، احتمال زیاد نمیدیم که از بیرون شرارتی انجام بگیره، اما اگر شرارتی انجام بگیره قطعاً ضربه متقابل محکم خواهد.
Iran has rejected direct talks with the United States over its nuclear program. This announcement comes after US President Donald Trump sent a letter to Iran's supreme leader, urging Tehran to reach a new deal. President Masoud Pezeshkian confirmed the decision, saying that Iran does not trust Washington and will only engage in direct talks. Pezeshkian also said Iran's policy remains unchanged, and it said it will not negotiate under pressure or threats. Let's listen to what the Iranian president had to say.
مقام معظم رهبری در رابطه با نامه‌ای که ترامپ فرستاده، مذاکره به طور مستقیم رد شده، اما مذاکره به طور غیر مستقیم همیشه ایران در اون رابطه بوده و الان هم مقام معظم رهبری تاکید فرمودن که مذاکره غیر مستقیم همچنان میتونه ادامه داشته باشه.
Donald Trump has responded with a strong warning. He threatened to bomb Iran and said that a decision on secondary tariffs on Iran would be made in the coming weeks, depending on Iran's actions. Let's take a listen to what Donald Trump had to say.
We're going to make a decision on secondary tariffs on Iran based on whether or not they're going to make a deal. If they're going to make a deal, then we're never going to put secondary tariffs on. We're going to hope they have a great, long, and successful life as a country. But we'll see what happens. It's very, very interesting. I can't imagine them doing anything else but making a deal. I would prefer a deal to the other alternative, which I think everybody in this plane knows what that is. And that's not going to be pretty, and I do not.
In response to Trump's threat, reports from Tehran suggest Iran's military has put missiles on high alert. Underground bases across the country now hold launch-ready missiles, which officials say they can withstand airstrikes. Iran has previously warned that any attack on its territory would spark a major conflict. Tensions between Washington and Tehran have been escalating since Trump withdrew from the US 2015 nuclear deal and reimposed sanctions on the country. Since then, Iran has stepped up its uranium enrichment program, moving closer to weapons-grade levels. The US and Israel have both warned that they will not allow Iran to acquire a nuclear weapon, raising fears of a military confrontation in the region. We are now joined by Joshua Barnes, anchor and correspondent for NewsX World. Joshua, what can you tell me about a bit more about this issue?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I think it's important first we go back and look at the plan that you mentioned that was made in 2015. This deal, the deal was made between Iran and several leading countries. We're looking at, of course, the United States, China, Russia, the European Union, leading nations across the world. And this basically saw sanctions lifted on Iran in return for a call on their behalf saying that they would limit their nuclear advancements. There was fear then, of course, that Iran would move towards full nuclear mobilization. But as you've mentioned, in 2018, the states did withdraw from this agreement and this deal, lifting those, reinforcing sanctions from before. Other nations still have sanctions lifted. What this means is that Iran have basically seen the deal as pretty much null and void, because the US were the people who came with this proposal, and since the states have withdrawn and carried on putting sanctions on Iran, they have moved forward their nuclear program. Now, looking at Donald Trump in his current administration, his now second term, he of course was the person who withdrew them in 2018, but he is looking at the situation in the Middle East and looking at the potential ramifications if Iran were to have nuclear weapons. We know, of course, Israel are fighting wars on several fronts, and these are mostly against groups that are backed by Iran, militant groups that are backed by Iran. The fear in this, the geopolitical fear, the global fear, is that if Israel with nuclear capabilities and Iran with nuclear capabilities were to go to war directly, there could be devastation for the area of the Middle East and across the world as well, with allies on both sides. So this situation for Trump is one that he needs to get a hold on. You've mentioned already that talks haven't been direct, but letters have been sent. Iran have signified that they're willing to continue communications with Trump and his administration indirectly, but what that means for the future, we will have to wait and see. For Trump, for him, this is very clear. He wants to get a new deal agreed. The first deal saw Iran's uranium sort of production and holding drop by 98%. That, of course, has advanced. Trump's eyes, he wants a similar deal that will see sanctions lifted, which he reinstated in his first term. This one is really hanging by a thread because, of course, as you've mentioned, clear and strong wording from Donald Trump threatening bombing Iran. The Supreme Leader Khamenei also coming back with threats of action as well. This is a tension point, it's a serious boiling point with the ongoing conflicts in the Middle East, something we will of course be keeping an eye on, but something that Trump and his administration will be working on rigorously over the next few days.
Joshua Barnes, thank you very much. Well, that is all we have time for. We will continue to bring you more news updates from across the world. Thank you.